On the stage of history comes a man whose strength defies all comparison. He was, without a doubt, the strongest man alive. Entire armies were no match for his spectacular strength, and the most fearsome weapons paled into insignificance before him. However, even with all this greatness, he was faced with the most destructive pain the human soul can face: betrayal. This man's story, marked by his struggle between virtue and weakness, reveals to us that even the most powerful can succumb to the seduction of a beautiful woman. Samson's story begins in a special way. An angel appeared to his father, Manoah, and his wife. At the time, they were unable to have children, but the Lord's grace reached them when this angel brought a message of hope. "You will have a son." The angel also gave Samson's mother some instructions during her pregnancy. She couldn't drink wine, and she couldn't cut the baby's hair. These requirements made it clear that Samson had a special mission from the start. They were signs that this baby would be different, that he would be special and consecrated to God. The vow of Nazirite was a special religious commitment that some people made as a form of consecration to God. The word Nazirite has Hebrew roots and is related to the idea of separation or consecration. Those who made this vow were known as Nazirites. There were three main elements that characterized the Nazirite vow, and Samson adopted all of them. Abstinence from wine and fermented beverages. Nazirites were forbidden to consume wine or any fermented alcoholic drink for the duration of their vow. This abstinence represented a form of self-denial and separation from the secular world. No haircut. One of the most recognizable features of the Nazirite vow was the promise not to cut one's hair during the period of consecration. For Samson, this part of the vow was especially crucial, as his hair was directly linked to his supernatural strength. Avoid contamination by corpses. Nazirites were to avoid any contact with corpses, even those of close relatives. This was a way of maintaining their ritual purity during the vow. And his name, Samson, means sun or light, which already shows us that he would have a bright destiny. So Samson was born, bringing joy to his parents who had been waiting so long for him. So today's story began with a special touch, a miracle revealed by an angel, translating into an intimate connection between God and Samson, a connection that will accompany this entire plot worthy of an award-winning movie. But what really makes Samson's story shine is the supernatural gift he received from God, incredible strength that no one else had. Imagine, he was the strongest man on earth. He faced a lion with his bare hands and emerged victorious. No one could compare to him. People were amazed to see what Samson could do. He lifted heavy things, faced enemies, and performed feats that seemed impossible. It was as if he had an inexhaustible source of energy, all of which came directly from God. This supernatural force not only protected Samson, but also made him a hero and leader among his people. It was a force that inspired admiration and respect wherever he went. Samson's gift was a source of admiration for some and hatred and envy for others. The Philistines were an enemy people of the Israelites in the coastal region of Palestine. Before Samson was born, the Philistines and the Israelites were involved in an ongoing conflict. The Philistines posed a constant threat to the Israelites, and there was growing tension between the two nations. The Philistines were determined to defeat the Israelite hero Samson, who was known for his superhuman strength. They saw Samson as a threat to their dominance over the Israelites, and were willing to do anything to discover the secret of his strength and neutralize him. To achieve their goal, the Philistines hired Delilah, whose mission was to discover the secret of Samson's strength. It was then that Samson's fate took a turn. Delilah was beautiful and charming, and she won Samson's heart. However, seduced by the promise of wealth, Delilah pressured Samson to tell her the secret of his strength. Samson, blindly in love, ended up trusting her and revealed the secret that his strength was in his hair. This is how the plot took on a dramatic twist. Samson's life, which had previously seemed unshakable, began to crumble right in front of his eyes when he was stabbed by the one he had decided to trust. After revealing his secret to Delilah, Samson fell into the hands of his enemies, the Philistines, who arrested him, cut off his hair, and blinded him. He was treated like a prisoner. A man who had once been so powerful was now weak and vulnerable. As if that wasn't enough, the Philistines prepared a great event. They took Samson to a temple where they celebrated their victory over him. They mocked him, thinking that his strength was gone forever. However, Samson asked God one last time for strength and courage. He was determined to take revenge on his enemies and fulfill his mission. With renewed strength, Samson embraced the pillars of the temple and brought them down with an incredible effort. The temple collapsed, killing Samson and all his enemies inside. This heroic act by Samson showed his courage and his devotion to the mission of freeing his people from the Philistines. He sacrificed his own life to fulfill this goal, showing that even in his fall, he found the strength to redeem himself and fulfill his mission. Samson became a legendary hero, whose story continues to inspire generations with his determination and sacrifice. The story of Samson and Delilah is one of the most iconic and enduring narratives in the Bible. It has been told and adapted in various forms over the centuries in different cultures and media, including literature, art, music, and film. Its story continues to captivate and inspire people to this day. But did you know that Samson was also known for proposing intriguing riddles during his lifetime? They highlight not only his supernatural physical strength, but also his intellect. Let's take a look at some of them. The Dead Lion Riddle Challenge. One of the most famous riddles occurred when he killed a lion with his bare hands. After this feat, he proposed a riddle to the Philistines. Out of that came food, and out of the strong came sweetness. He challenged his enemies to decipher this riddle, offering rewards such as robes if they succeeded. He based the riddle on the experience of killing the lion, suggesting that something sweet or valuable came out of the situation. The Philistines, unable to solve the riddle on their own, resorted to a form of treachery to get the answer. They pressured Samson's wife, who, fearing for her safety and under threat, persuaded Samson to share the source of his strength. In addition to the lion riddle, Samson faced other challenges throughout his life. He led the Israelites in battles against the Philistines, where his supernatural strength was repeatedly put to the test. His battles and feats included episodes such as murdering 30 Philistines to solve a riddle bet during his marriage, destroying Philistine crops using foxes with torches tied to their tails, and killing thousands of enemies with the jawbone of a donkey. In addition to the physical challenges, Samson's story also involves tests of character. His relationship with Delilah, for example, tested his faithfulness to God and his ability to resist temptation. His relationship with the Philistine women was also a test of his loyalty. Samson's story is marked by moral ambiguities. Although he is an Israelite hero who performed heroic deeds, he is also portrayed as someone who made significant mistakes, including revealing his secret to Delilah. This moral duality makes his story all the more captivating and complex. Samson's story is rich in valuable lessons that we can all apply to our lives. The first lesson is the importance of faithfulness to God. Samson was chosen by God from birth to fulfill a specific mission. Even though he made mistakes along the way, he always had that divine connection. The second lesson is about the consequences of betrayal. Delilah's betrayal had a devastating impact on Samson's life. It reminds us that we must choose our friendships and relationships wisely. The third lesson is about the inner strength we all possess. Samson, even after losing his supernatural strength, found the courage within himself to perform his last heroic act. This shows us that even in the most difficult situations, we can find the strength to carry on. Samson's story also teaches us about the power of redemption. He made mistakes, but his last heroic act redeemed him in the eyes of his people. This shows us that we can always seek redemption and make a difference, no matter our past mistakes. Finally, Samson's story reminds us that each of us has a role to play in our journey. He had a specific mission, and we all have our purposes and responsibilities in life. Therefore, Samson's story continues to inspire and teach us timeless lessons about faith, betrayal, inner strength, and redemption, which can be applied to our own lives. Indeed, the story of Samson offers many lessons and parallels that can be applied to modern life. Let's explore further the lessons we can draw from it. Human strength and fragility. Samson represents the duality of human strength and fragility. Like Samson, modern people can be endowed with extraordinary talents, skills, or resources, but they are also vulnerable to weaknesses and temptations. It is important to recognize our strengths and weaknesses while remaining humble. Temptation and betrayal. Samson's betrayal by Delilah is a reminder of how temptations can lead to betrayal. In the modern world, People also face temptations in various forms, such as the lure of power, wealth, or harmful relationships. Samson's story warns us about the importance of making wise decisions and resisting temptation, redemption, and starting over. Even after his falls and mistakes, Samson found redemption through his last heroic act. This highlights the ability to redeem oneself and seek a new beginning, regardless of past mistakes. Modern men can also seek redemption and personal transformation. Mission and purpose. Samson had a specific mission in his life, chosen by God. This reminds us that every person has a purpose in life. Modern men can seek to discover and fulfill their purpose, contributing in a meaningful way to society and to the well-being of others. Integrity and loyalty. Samson's story highlights the importance of integrity and loyalty to God. In the modern world, maintaining sound ethical principles and moral values is fundamental to making the right decisions and resisting negative influences, power, and responsibility. Samson was gifted with supernatural strength, but he was also responsible for how he used this gift. In the same way, modern men may possess skills, knowledge, or resources that empower them, but it is their responsibility to use them in a positive and responsible way. Acceptance of consequences. Samson faced the consequences of his actions, both good and bad. This reflects the importance of accepting the consequences of our choices and acting maturely in the face of them. Samson's story offers a series of timeless lessons that can be applied to modern life. It reminds us that everyone has strengths and weaknesses, that it is important to resist temptation, seek redemption, fulfill a purpose, maintain integrity, take responsibility for our actions, and accept the consequences. Samson is an example of how the biblical narrative can provide valuable lessons for modern man on his journey through life. Let me ask you a few questions. Do you believe in Jesus Christ as the Lord and Savior of your life? If so, do you recognize the importance of living with God at the forefront of your actions? Perfect. But did you know that most believers struggle to dedicate even 10% of their day to the kingdom of God because of the daily grind? If the Lord returned in 30 days, would you be confident in your salvation? 30 Habits for Drawing Closer to God is your guide to cultivating daily habits that will deepen your spiritual journey. With practical steps that help you dedicate more time to God, you'll be able to live with a renewed sense of purpose and devotion. Check out the pinned comment below to find the link to your copy and start building a closer relationship with God today.